Hello everybody, welcome or welcome back, and thank you for joining me for my one-to-one challenge with Tracey from Mini Scenes GB. Tracey's video will be linked in my description. If you happen to have found me first, please go and watch Tracey's video. I apologise, I've got a cold. I will do my best to cut out any cold-related noises. The challenge is wire in resin. I didn't want to make it specifically a jewellery challenge because I didn't have faith in my ability to make a nice piece of jewellery with wire. I struggle with my dexterity and my eyesight, so I wanted to leave it open to, for example, if I could make a cat shape out of wire and put it in a coaster. But after 2 months roughly of practising, I have managed to make two very nice jewellery pieces. The inspiration for these projects comes from two channels. I will link the channels and the individual videos that gave me the inspiration, and I'll also put up photographs in the corner for you to see the project I was aiming to copy. The channel for this first project is called Handmade. Handmade makes their own bezels and bales where needed. I was completely in awe of this technique. I have since found that there are quite a few channels that do this, but because I found Handmade first and I was already practicing that channel, I will stick with that. And of course, if I try to emulate any other channels in the future, I'll credit them when appropriate. There are 3 areas of resin work that I want to work on this year. The first is beach theme, which you will have seen if you watched my New Year collaboration video. The second technique is this, what we are looking at today. And the third you will see if you come back and watch my video next week. Please come back for that. I look forward to showing that project too. Now, this might be a long video because I'm going to show you 2 projects. And at first I am going at normal speed so that I can show you the whole technique, apart from just when I'm pouring resin or curing. To bring you up to speed with what I've done so far, I measured 4.5 centimeters of wire. Now I am using my 1 centimeter thick setting on the, I don't know what they're called, to bend that piece in the middle. Trying desperately to adjust my camera so that you can see what I'm doing, but also for me to have space underneath the camera. And I wasn't successful. I went out of frame a bit, so I've jumped ahead. So here's the piece after I've bent it in the middle, and I need to continue bending it to make it a teardrop shape. And this was quite difficult because it would keep springing back outwards. I needed to find a way to make it stay bent at the curved side so that the ends would stay together. So now, if you've got your wire cut straight on the ends, you need to trim them at an angle so that when you push the, what would previously have been, let's say, a corner, there's no longer a corner there and it sits flush together. I hope that made sense, but obviously if you want to see what I mean better, you can obviously check out Handmade. And here I'm just being extra cautious about making sure that I pick up any fragments of wire, because I have cats. I don't want them standing on it or eating it. Another issue that I had was, after I've messed about with it, getting it to be flat. So once I've pressed the ends in and they're level that way, then I've got the situation where if you was to put it down on the table, one end pokes up whilst the other lies flat. So I had a lot of tweaking to do to get this as flat and in the correct shape as possible. And now I need to cut 2 more pieces, this time 2.5 centimeters long. I'll speed this up just a small amount so that you can still watch, but just not quite as slow. And this time I need to curve these pieces around an object that is 2 centimeters wide. And Handmade do use a glue stick for that. That's why I had a glue stick ready. I had difficulties with this because once I'd got the basic curve, the ends were still sticking out and I would struggle to press the ends in to the glue stick flush. So I end up using my ruler, I think, to press down those very end pieces. Now I'm picking up that piece and reshaping it using the needle nose pliers. Now the reason for that is I jumped ahead, but I had gone back and checked the video and realised that I'd jumped ahead and that this was the next stage. But what I should have done was cut a new piece of wire instead of reshaping that piece, because that piece was correct, just it was correct for a later stage. I've basically wasted that time using the glue stick and then using the same piece on the needle nose pliers. So again, this piece needs to be a teardrop shape, and trimming the edges to make the edges sit flush. It's just going to be a smaller teardrop. I'm going to cut another piece at 2.5 centimetres. I needed 3 overall. 1 for making the small teardrop and 2 to be curved around the glue stick for the next stage. Okay, now you're going to start seeing examples of me struggling with my dexterity and my eyesight. I need to place these together, points inwards, but with the smaller one, the ends of the smaller one being slightly outside the ends of the larger one. I had difficulty getting them into position, or I'd get them into position, but they'd be pressing against each other and then one would end up springing up. I think I struggled with it for about 10 minutes, but with the magic of editing, you don't have to suffer that long. And now positioning the other 2 pieces. And here I have put it on a piece of kitchen paper because the resin tape was sticking to the silicone mat, and I didn't want to have that to happen after I'd started putting resin down. And here I am just making a base layer of clear resin in between all the gaps except that smallest teardrop. I can't remember how long I cure each layer for. The light that I'm using has a minimum setting of 2 minutes, so I just put it on 2 minutes, and then I just either, if I'm busy, let it go for the 2 minutes, or if I take it out before the 2 minutes, I just test it with a cocktail stick to make sure it's hardened. And just in case it isn't obvious, and for any newbies, this is a UV resin project, not epoxy. So if I forget to say UV, then take it for granted that that's what this is. So I am now mixing up some red chrome powder into some UV resin. I think the rest of this project should be pretty self-explanatory, so I will put you on a music time-lapse. I'll jump back in if I need to tell you anything else, if anything jumps out at me. If I do miss anything that you wanted to know, please ask me in the comments.
Started with the vision in my hands. White light didn't quite go as planned. Tangled lines and learning curves. Every try got closer than the last. Late nights, patience wearing thin, but something magic slowly settling in. Each mistake taught me what to do till the spark finally came shining through. Practice turns the doubt to believe. Every small step leading me right where I'm meant to be. Cause it was worth the time, every single day. Learning how to bend, learning how to stay with the dream when it's not easy to see. Now I'm proud of what's in front of me. It was worth the time, worth the wait from first try to something I can celebrate. I'm finally ready, finally free to share what I've made. Come create with me. Side by side, not walking alone. 101 where ideas are grown. Tracey's there, steady and true to create a path coming into view. UV light, wire wrap just right, turning effort into something bright. Not just jewelry, not just art, but proof of progress, proof of heart. When you learn and trust the process too, you find out what your hands 'Cause it was worth the time, every single day, learning how to bend, learning how to stay with the dream when it's not easy to see. Now I'm proud of what's in front of me. It was worth the time, worth the wait from first try to something I can celebrate. I'm finally ready, finally free to share what I've made. Come create with me, 2 months of trying, failing, growing strong, finding where I truly belong. Every twist, every spark of light, you led me to this moment tonight. Yeah, it was worth the time, now I know how far a little patience goes. If you're learning to just wait and see, your moment's closer than it seems. It was worth the time, now I say, if I can do it, you'll find your way. This is more than jewelry, it's the journey, and it's part of me. So here's to learning, here's to trying, here's to dreams worth perfecting, one piece at a time.
In a quiet room, late night glow, mixing dreams with resin slow. Some ideas I already know, some scare me half to death, but I still go. Epoxy waves and UV light, trying to get it wrong to get it right. Hands not perfect, that's okay, every mark's part of the way. I step outside what feels safe and known, build something beautiful on my own. If it breaks, I'll show you why. If it works, we'll both fly. I make it with a heart, every part, love in the mess, love in the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with a heart, from the start. This is creating with a heart. Some days smooth, some days rough, some days yeah, some days that's enough. But every pour, every try has a reason, has a why. If I find the way it's meant to be, I'll teach you step by step with me. If I don't, at least you'll know what not to do when you go. Comfort zones are made to bed, mistakes can still be teachers' friend. No gatekeeping, no disguise, just honest craft before your eyes. I make it with a heart, every part, love in the mess, love in the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with the heart, from the start. This is creating with the heart. Not perfect, never planned, still proud of what I made by hand. If it shines or if it cracks, every lesson leads us back. I make it with a heart, every part, failures and wins, they both leave a mark.
Okay, I don't want to bore you with too much music. I'll cut this section here. Suffice to say, there's just been a lot of top coating going on, and I'll see you for the next stage. On to the next exciting part, the last part other than top coating and finishing off the backs. I've gone back to normal speed for you for a minute so that you can see me struggle again in real time, but if it goes on for too long, I'll cut it off or speed it up again. I'm trying to get 4 jewels in a square upside down so that I can put some resin on the back to stick them together, in case you're wondering why they look like they're upside down. And now I can finally put them into position on my pieces. And again, I'm struggling to get them into position, so a bit of messing about. I'll jump ahead. And I'm now just doing another top coat of UV on the front to give extra security for those diamonds. Then I will flip it over and do some top coating on the back and finish the pieces off. I'm going to put you on another music time lapse, so I shall see you when we are ready to do the next project.
Started with wire in my hands and a picture only I could understand. Some days it worked, some days it didn't show, but every try taught me what I know. UV light, patience in the air, learning every curve, learning every flare. What once felt just out of reach became a skill I learned to teach. Time turns effort into art when you stay true to who you are. This is made by Sherry Heart. Every twist, every spark, 2 months learning from the start, turning hope into handmade art. It's made by Sherry Heart. With steady hands and an open heart, I took the time, I did the part. Now I'm proud of what I start. 1-to-1 creative flow with Tracey from innocent as we grow, sharing ideas side by side, different styles beautifully aligned. While your work set just right in place, resin catching light and grace. 2 pieces carefully designed, proof of progress piece by piece in time. Learning's never wasted time. Every step refines the shine. This is made by Sherry Heart. Every twist, every spark, 2 months learning from the start, turning hope into handmade art. It's made by Sherry Heart. Not rushed, not torn apart, practice shaped every part.
As you could see there, I was struggling with putting the jewellery pieces on. I'm going to save the glamour shots for these pieces to the end of the video and show you them together with my second project, which we will get started on right now. Okay, so like the last one, the first part of this will be a lot of talking to explain what I'm doing. This one is inspired by a channel called Dewdrops Resin. Again, I will link the channel and the specific video that I am copying. And here's the inspiration photo for this one, which I'll pop up periodically like I did with the last one. And the lady at Dewdrops is called Beth. So now whenever I say Beth, you know who I mean. Beth does a mixture of using, I believe, open-backed and closed-backed bezels, as well as making her own bezels and bales if required, and even not using any bezel at all. For this project, we are making our own bezel and bale, and as you can see, I am using the flat wire. Now, I don't suppose I need to explain everything again because some of it is similar to the Charm Esserize project. So I'll speed things up a little bit where I feel like you might want to still be able to comfortably watch what I'm doing, but without the boredom of normal speed. Then, as before, when we come to do the resin, I'll skip bits or fast forward a little bit more. For the last project, I made a pair of earrings. For this one, I'm just going to make a pendant. I've popped up the inspiration photo again to help me explain. So you see the blue diamond in the middle. I'm not quite sure that any of my little moulds there are a good size for making that. So I make up too much resin anyway, so I put resin into a few of those different mould shapes so that I've got the option of what to use when it comes to actually placing it into my bezel. And Beth colours her resin, and so I did the same, and then it's not until after I'd done that she said you can leave it clear as well, or that I didn't see that she'd said that until after I'd done it anyway, because we are going to then colour it again. So Colouring it at this stage is optional. So you can see I have got a few pieces there that are of different shapes and sizes, and I'm just seeing which one I think I want to work with, and I've chosen a teardrop. And for the next stage we are going to put some more UV resin on that and then part cure it to leave it sticky so that we can then colour it again just with powder, so not putting more resin on top of that, just something sticky for some more powder to stick to. Now Beth brushes it on, I think, and then just goes over it with her fingers to spread it out. I didn't brush it on. I just put it on with a stick and then tried to spread it a bit. And this resulted in this piece being too thick for my liking. But I don't realise that it's too thick until later. So I'll let you watch me carry on colouring this one, but then when I come to do a different one later, I'll chop that part out of the video. So as you can see, I have chosen to use my chrome powders, and I'm just brushing onto the sticky resin. And as you'll be able to see, it's quite tricky to get it fully covered all over. And whilst I'm speaking again now already, I will jump ahead with, I was misleading earlier when I said no more resin going on. What I should have said was, we're not mixing powder into resin to then colour the piece. We've put some powder onto the sticky resin. Now we will put some more UV resin on top to seal that powder on. Right, back down to normal speed again. For the next stage, Beth uses some existing bezels, open back bezels, and cuts them up, but they need to be thinner than the ones that I have. These are too chunky from what I can see of what she uses on her videos. So I am going to revert to my trusty 0.8mm wire. Now I have roughly measured how big I would want one piece to be, cut that off, and then use that as the guide to cut a second piece the same size. And I'm just using my fingers and thumbs to just give this a gentle curve. But now I've decided that the gentle curve is too gentle, and so I'll start getting my tools out to help me deepen the curve. I've skipped a bit of that for you, and now you can see I'm trying to get them symmetrical, and I'll skip ahead again. Okay, so I've got them as symmetrical as I can get them, and I'm starting to position them. And now I've decided they're not big enough because on Beth's project they overlap each other. And I've cut out a few minutes of faffing until I've got two pieces that I'm happy with. Just another little bit of faffing. I'm trying to make a bigger overlap in the middle and have them still touch the sides, and it ain't going to work because they're not long enough. And I decide that they're good enough to proceed with. And now we're just putting a little dot of UV resin on that overlapping section just to seal those two pieces into position. And now that little dot of UV has cured, I'm reusing the previous pieces of wire that I had cut to progress the pattern, so I'm just reshaping, resizing those. And you can see here that this is not copying the inspiration photo exactly. And now I've got my little pot of scrap metal, bits that I've scrapped from previous projects that will never go to waste. And now we're going to make an infinity symbol. This looks so much faffier than it needs to be. Beth does it so much easier. Okay, all of my wires are in position. Well, I'm just fine-tuning the positions. So now we get on to actually doing some resin and hopefully get a bit of a music time lapse going shortly. So first layer of clear resin going down, and it's shortly after this point that I realised that that piece is going to be too big, the little teardrop that I made. And I think it must be because of the overlap in the middle, combined with me not brushing on the UV thinly when we did the colouring of the small teardrop. I didn't brush it on really thinly like Beth did. So that combined with the overlap, that's the only thing I can think of, because Beth's fits fine despite having an overlap.
Started with wire in my hands and a picture only I could understand. Some days it worked, some days it didn't show, but every try taught me what I know. UV light, patience in the air, learning every curve, learning every flare. What once felt just out of reach became a skill I learned to teach. Time turns effort into art when you stay true to who you are. This is made by Sherry Heart. Every twist, every spark, 2 months learning from the start, turning hope into handmade art. It's made by Sherry Heart. With steady hands and an open heart, I took the time, I did the part. Now I'm proud of what I start. 1-to-1 creative flow with Tracey from innocent as we grow, sharing ideas side by side, different styles beautifully aligned. While your work set just right in place, resin catching light and grace. 2 pieces carefully designed, proof of progress piece by piece in time. Learning's never wasted time.
As you can see here, I switched to a small heart, but I'm going to put it in the blank space at the top instead of on the overlapping section. And down goes another layer of clear to help seal the heart in position. Okay, now for the next stage. Now, I've had difficulty with this stage previously as well. We're going to use chameleon flakes. And aside from this project, not this specific project you're seeing, but all of my dewdrops practice projects, these are the only projects that I have used chameleon flakes with. So I didn't know how to use them properly, and I was trying to brush them on like powders, and that doesn't work. First, I'm going to brush on some gilding glue, so I'll jump ahead. Okay, so I think I end up using 4 of these colours. What Beth does is she uses a mixture of colours and puts them on in patches in between each other, so to speak, and then brushes them all, mixing them up as she brushes, which you will see when I come to do that. I didn't know what colours would go best together, so I think I just ended up having fun with it and just using 4 colours.
In a quiet room, late night glow, mixing dreams with resin slow. Some ideas I already know, some scare me half to death, but I still go. Epoxy waves and UV light, trying to get it wrong to get it right. Hands not perfect, that's okay, every mark's part of the way. I step outside what feels safe and known, build something beautiful on my own. If it breaks, I'll show you why. If it works, we'll both fly. I make it with a heart, every part. Love in the mess, love in the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with a heart from the start. This is creative. Some days smooth, some days rough, some days, yeah, some days that's enough. But every pour, every try has a reason, has a why. If I find the way it's meant to be, I'll teach you step by step with me. If I don't, at least you'll know what not to do when you go. Comfort zones are made to bed, mistakes can still be teachers' friends. No gatekeeping, no disguise, just honest craft before your eyes. I make it with a heart, every part, love in the mess, love in the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with the heart from the start. This is creating with the heart. Not perfect, never planned, still proud of what I made by hand. If it shines or if it cracks, every lesson leads us back. I make it with a heart, every part, failures and wins, they both leave a mark. So stay, create, don't be afraid. There's beauty in every risk you take. Made with a heart, that's the art. Thanks for creating with the heart.
Okay, so I've chameleon powdered the back, top coated it. Now I'm top coating the front again and just finishing off now with top coating back and forth and cleaning up that bezel as needed. That's one of the things I'm really proud of with this project as well, is how clean I keep the bezel, which you'll see in the end. Now we're going to make the bale, and this isn't perfect by any means, but I am basically copying Beth's, and I don't get it perfect, but I do want to experiment with making different shapes of bales as well, regardless if I've copied Beth's projects or Charm Messerize or whoever else. Once I learn a few different bale making techniques, then I'll be able to use my initiative to cross-use different techniques. And I'll let you watch me struggle with this for a little while as well.
In a quiet room, late night glow, mixing dreams with resin slow. Some ideas I already know, some scare me half to death, but I still go. Epoxy waves and UV light, trying to get it wrong to get it right. Hands not perfect, that's okay. Every mark is part of the way. I step outside, would feel safe and known. Build something beautiful on my own. If it breaks, I'll show you why. If it works, we'll both fly. I make it with heart, every part. Love in the mess, love in the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with a heart from the start. This is creating with a heart. Some days smooth, some days rough, some days, yeah, some days that's enough. But every pour, every try has a reason, has a why. If I find the way it's meant to be, I'll teach you step by step with me. If I don't, at least you'll know what not to do when you go. Comfort zones are made to bend, mistakes can still be teachers' friend. No gatekeeping, no disguise, just...
Okay, I've jumped ahead again. Just a lot more top coating going on to secure that bale in position. And now I'm getting ready to put on the necklace. Ideally, I think I would have liked to have put a metal chain on this piece because it's quite a nice piece. But just for the sake of the video, and the video being about the pendant technique, I just grabbed a cord chain. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful, and please tune in next week for another brand new technique that I have been trying, not jewellery related. Hang around for the glamour shots and videos, and I will put up the inspiration photos again for comparison. Thank you, have a good week, and I hope to see you again next week.
If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with a heart from the start. This is creating with a heart. Not perfect, never planned, still proud of what I made by hand. If it shines or if it cracks, every lesson leads us back.